What's going on, everyone? Sunkestx here, and as you can see, we're going to be talking about a pretty absurd build today. It's the auto melee weapon build. It allows you to set off a chain of explosions while you're using auto melee weapons. It's super fun, you're super tanky. It's one of my favorite builds out there. If you'd like to support the channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button, but if you'd like to go a step further, click that join button. You can take a look at the membership tiers I have to offer and at their exclusive benefits. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Alright, so let's get into the basics. What is auto melee? It's essentially exactly as it sounds. It's automatic melee weapons that don't require additional swings to do damage. You hold the trigger down once, or I believe left mouse down, and you'll do continuous damage over time as the blade or the chain or whatever you're using kind of spins up. It's very good at DPS and sustained damage. However, it does make you more vulnerable to staggers when you're fighting other melee enemies. But there's ways to negate damage for stuff like that. Some of the auto melee weapons are going to include the chainsaw, as I'm showing here, the auto axe, the ripper, the buzz blade, and don't think I'm missing any, but if I am, let me know in the comments. My personal favorite is the chainsaw and the auto axe. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to get both of these. One important note though, before I show you the locations of those melee weapons, if you decide to use those ones that I've mentioned, just keep in mind that these items can be a little bit bulky and take up a lot of your screen in first person, as you can see here. So I definitely recommend using this build in third person. If the bulkiness doesn't bother you in first person, all the power to you, but I like using it in third person. So starting with the chainsaw here, I think this is going to be the best option for new players, as you don't need to spend atoms in the atom shop to buy it, and you don't need to grind for stamps to get it like you do with the auto axe. So this is the first location that I know of to get one. If you open your map, fast travel over to the Crimson Project. From the fast travel point, you're just going to run kind of straight through here. We're just going to ignore any enemies that I see. Just running right through the middle. And a chainsaw will spawn right on this shelf right here. Alright, second best place I know of to get a chainsaw is going to be over here at the metal dome. From the fast travel point, just run straight forward and to the right. You're going to kind of get to a point where you kind of see like a little suite here for viewing the games here, and there'll just be one sitting on the ground right there. Huge shout out to MrWestTek. I learned these locations from one of his older videos, so I'll link that description. Thanks a lot, MrWestTek. Alright, so moving on to the auto axe. If you're going to go the free route and you want to grind stamps out via expeditions, I actually just made a great video about expeditions. If you want to check that out, that'll be linked in the description. That'll help you get some stamps. But once you got those stamps, you can go to the White Springs Resort and fast travel to the White Spring Refuge. From the fast travel point, you're just going to run up the stairs here, over to the right, past the bar, through this room, hang a left here, and Giuseppe will be in this room right here. He'll have the modifications as well as the, all the plan to build the actual one. Now, if you got some atoms kicking around, you can also open up the atom shop and go from the main tab. And I believe the auto axe is permanently in the shop for 700 atoms, so you can go that route as well. So as I just mentioned, the modifications for the auto axe can be purchased from Giuseppe over there. The best attachment to run on it, to my knowledge, is the electrified mod. I know there's some changes going on in the PTS right now with auto melee weapons, so it remains to be seen which one remains on top and what combinations are best, but to my knowledge, this is the current best way to run the auto axe with the electrified mod. And then the chainsaw, the best way to run this currently is the flamer mod and the dual bar mod. Both of those mods are purchased somewhere else. They can be purchased from the Watoga Station robot vendor. So we'll just fast travel over here, and I'll just kind of show you where that is. But note, it's kind of a rare spawn for these. just run over here. And the vendor is right here. Let's see if they have it today. Yep, they got the chainsaw flamer mod for me here. And it has the longbow bar today. But the other best mod is going to be the dual bar. And I believe the dual bar mod, you can learn that from just scrapping chainsaws. So make sure to just farm those chainsaw spawns that I showed you earlier. Scrap some chainsaws and you can learn the dual bar mod. Alright, moving on to recommendations for legendary rolls on your auto melee weapons. First star, definitely recommend vampires. This will help keep you alive, as I like to run a bloodied build. And the attack speed on the chainsaw and the auto axe and all the other auto melee weapons is insanely fast. So that's a really good one to run. Second star, this is probably the most important one. For some reason, auto melee weapons are coded where every attack is considered a power attack. So that plus 40% power attack damage is just a straight up across the board 40% damage buff. Now, I only have a 2-star here one, 2-star one here, but the best 3rd star would be reduced damage taken while power attacking. So if you have that combination on an auto melee weapon, you're kind of unkillable as long as you're doing damage to someone, and it's super OP in my opinion, but it's a ton of fun. Moving on to the gear. Since I'm going to recommend a bloodied build for this loadout, I will be using the unyielding legendary 1st star effect, and I have a full set of unyielding Secret Service armor. Now, the best way to maximize your damage would be if you are able to roll a unyielding armor piece that also has the 2nd star plus 1 strength, since strength directly buffs melee damage. If you're doing a full health build, I would recommend using Overeaters and also trying to get strength as the 2nd star. Moving on to the perk and special loadout. So here is how I have my perk points distributed. Keep in mind, I have 5 special legendary cards maxed out, so you might need to allocate or spend yours a little differently. I will talk through my perks, the reasoning, and which ones you can kind of skip if you're lacking the points necessary to spec into those cards. But here's the special stats that I went with. So in order of importance, I would say strength is the most important. Definitely max this out. Strength directly affects how much melee weapon damage you're doing, so definitely max that out. And then I definitely would at least leave enough points in luck to run Serendipity, Ricochet, Class Freak, and Starched Jeans. So starting back over at Strength again, I maxed out Traveling Pharmacy. I personally carry a ton of chems on me. I have a couple Slugger perks here to increase my two-handed melee weapon damage, since the auto axe and the chainsaw are considered two-handed melee weapons. Maxed out Incisor to increase armor penetration. Blocker to reduce incoming melee. Attacks, since we're going to be obviously close range. And Perception, I have Butcher's Bounty to get extra meat from corpses. A lot of the melee weapon damage boosts their buffs are tied to cooked meat items, so this will help. I guess it'll help with that. Refactor to make myself tankier. Moving on to Endurance, I have Life Giver because I'm a bloodied build. Chem Resistant to not get addicted to chems, and because I'll be using damage buffing chems. Fireproof to make myself more tanky, and Radical to increase my carry weight and my strength, which also directly buffs melee damage. Over in Charisma, I have Inspirational for some extra XP, Strange in Numbers to increase the positive effects of my mutations, and Tenderizer for more damage. Nerd Rage is also very important if you're running bloodied build, not necessary if you're doing full health. Stable Tools, this is also a very important perk. Automatic melee weapons break very fast, so you want to be sure that you're running this perk. Agility, there's a lot of kind of luxuries in here because of how I have my legendary perk cards, but the most important ones in my opinion is probably going to be Adrenaline, Gun Fu, and Born Survivor if you're doing bloodied. These other three are kind of niceties, but Action Boy is nice because melee weapons drain your AP bar. Through Hiker, I like to carry a lot of food on me, and Evasive just makes you a little more tanky. So these three aren't needed necessarily, but I would definitely recommend running these. Born Survivor is not necessary if you're not running a Bloodied build. So going back to luck, I have Bloody Mess to increase damage, Serendipity, and Ricochet. These help make you a lot tankier, and Ricochet works in tandem with the Vampire's legendary effect, as I'll demonstrate in a little bit, so that's super helpful. Mystery Meat, when you take damage and then hit stim packs, you have a chance to spawn meat items, and those items could be cooked into melee buffs, so you don't even have to go and necessarily look for meat to cook. It'll just spawn on your character. And Class Freak to make mutations not as negative, and Starch Genes to not lose those mutations. I just want to note, there is currently a bug where auto melee weapons kind of sometimes don't work the greatest in VATS, so just understand that you're going to face that sometimes. Try to switch between weapons and see if it fixes it. If not, just use the weapon outside of VATS until your next engagement. It will do plenty of damage, I promise. So for mutations, here's a look at what I use. Adrenal Reaction, Bird Bones, Carnivore, Eagle Eyes, Egghead, Herd Mentality. Herd Mentality is a great one to buff your strength for that extra melee damage. And Marsupial's great for that carry weight, and also since you're going to be fighting close range, if you kind of need to dip out of the fight for a second, the extra jump height will kind of get you out of there briefly. Some of these aren't necessarily directly tied to melee build, but I don't really change them up between my builds. There's other better ones. You'd have to do a little more research into that, but this is personally just what I always keep on my character. So for the food buffs, at least guaranteed ones, I come over to the White Springs Refuge, and I run over here to the left. And there's actually kind of like a secret food vendor, if you will. If you sit at the chair, a server will come and open up their inventory for you. They have a possibility of selling Deathclaw Wellington and Tasty Yaguai ribs, and those do very they help melee damage a lot. The Yaguai roast is another option as well, as you can see here, plus 170% melee damage. That's because I'm a carnivore, so I get increased benefits. But if they were to have the Deathclaw Wellington, that will increase your strength by 6. As we know, strength increases melee damage as well. Alright, so we've fast traveled over to the White Springs Golf Club to kind of test out how hack and slash works. Note, it can be kind of buggy sometimes. Thanks Bethesda, but it's still fun when it works. So to kind of show you how it works, I'll kind of get some enemies hoarded up like we're playing COD Zombies. Come on guys, come here. Alright, you're our victim here. As you can see, we just cleared house for the most part. That explosion does the same damage. The explosion damage is the same as what the weapon is doing, so you're kind of just essentially just eviscerating everything that's in your vicinity. We fast travel over to WestTek to fight a little bit tougher enemies and see how we stack up. Alright, you first. Oh, he got eviscerated. Let's see how we do outside of that. Yep, we're just... Alright, let's check out the chainsaw now. As you can see here, I can kind of just stand here and tank bullets due to running Ricochet. But as soon as I start doing damage too, we're just essentially unkillable. The damage per second is just off the charts. And everything is being turned into a strawberry smoothie. Alright, we've traveled over to Sunrise Field. See if the Mirelurk Queen wants to fight us today. Come on, where are you, Mirelurk Queen? Oh, you're in here. Alright, let's see how we do here. Got the little VATS glitch there, but let's see how we do. And we're just shredding right through, no problem at all. As you can see, the potential for this build is pretty high. It's a ton of fun. Give it a try. Thanks a ton for watching and making it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed, definitely make sure you leave a like, hit the subscribe button. I stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and some Thursdays. Also some other days, throughout the week if I have some time. I also have memberships now, so if you want to take a look at those, you can click the join button and see the membership tiers that I have on offer. Thank you guys very much for watching, and you have a good day.